It's Corona time right now. Oh, it's Corona time right now. Don't use that.
Right guys, welcome back to a new video. Now today we're going to be going... Okay, today's new video is we're going to be going through every single current Premier League club and going through their worst signing of the decade. So the last 10 years, we've just been the player they signed who hasn't really lived up to expectations. Before we start, THOGDAD, the like target. You're the man who chooses it. What is it?
6,300.
Let's smash it. I'm sure we can hit that. People love content whilst everyone's at home. You can't leave the house. Remember, if you leave the house and you don't have a reason, you're going to get done by the old Bill. Don't go for 2 runs in one day, or Boris Johnson will do this to you.
German lad on the wing. Here comes Boris, and oh my god, he's just sent him right back to his own country. Bloody hell. The big blonde-haired big lad has just done a rugby tackle on a football pitch. I hope he's all right after that one.
Bang. Strengthen.
Starting with Arsenal. I've gone for a player called Alex Sanogo. Now, he came to Arsenal from the sort of the French youth setup. He banged in goals. The only trouble was that when he got to Arsenal, aged about 20, 1 goal, I think, in 20 games, he just wasn't good enough.
And on the first one, I agree with THOGDAD. I've also gone for the nicknamed Yaya Sano goals. He also started in a Champions League match versus Bayern Munich. Can you believe that?
No way.
He did. It's unbelievable. Don't know how.
The next team is Aston Villa. And I've gone for a player who could be selected for several teams. It is, of course, Danny Drinkwater. 3 or 4 years ago, he was winning the Premier League title with Leicester. Now, he got done for drunk driving, got involved in a punch-up outside a nightclub in Manchester, and more recently, it seems like he's had a punch-up with his Aston Villa teammates. What
a decline, but I haven't gone with Drinkwater. For Villa, I've gone with Micah Richard, because he went from a City world beater to an absolute flop at Villa. And he was part of the relegation team of that 2015-16 season. He was that bad. He went 1,000 days at Villa without playing a match, and on top of that he was on a big wage, so he was just cashing in, and then he decided to retire at 31. Shocking flop.
I'd even forgotten about him. That's a really good choice. Let's move on to Bournemouth, and I've gone for a 22-year-old centre forward who cost £19 million from Liverpool. In fact, some Liverpool fans even said this was our worst player. Of course it is Dominic Solanke, but at this level he just can't score goals. I think it's 1 goal in 38 games.
That's poor, that. I'm going to go with a different man who's been a bit of a flop. Do you remember Jordan Ibe? He went to Bournemouth for 15 million, a club record at the time, until they splashed stupid money on Solanke, who's also been rubbish. But this guy has been 78 times for Bournemouth. How many goals has he got? 3.
Wow.
This is a winger we're talking about.
Wow.
How bad is that?
So, shall we move on to Brighton and Hove Albion?
Let's do it.
Shahanbash.
Yep.
£17 million fee. This guy's just managed 2 goals in 2 seasons.
And I'm going to have to agree with you, sadly, because Brighton don't really have that many options. They don't have many stinkers. Although this guy's shown glimpses of quality this season, like his overhead kick, it's not been enough for his price tag, but it all could change. You can make us eat his words.
This is a guy who's a hero in his home country.
Yeah.
Played 44 times for Iran, so I'm surprised.
But I feel bad for their country. First their wars, and now coronavirus hitting them. It's unfortunate for all the Iranians out there. Hope you're all safe.
Moving on now to Burnley, and a shout out to Callum for helping me Leon Court. Callum says, we lent him out to Preston North End as an insult. 442 magazine described him as Bambi's slower cousin on ice.
I've gone with Joe Hart because they splashed a lot of money on him, big wages, and they signed him because Pope and Heaton both got injured and they had to go for a quick signing somewhere. They went for Joe Hart, and they expected a lot. The man had a really good opportunity to get back in the England team, and he was shocking. Burnley fans never want to see him in the team again, and rightly so.
Now, moving on to Chelsea. I've had to go for someone who cost 50 million quid from Real Madrid. Now, when you pay that money, you expect the best. A Spanish international called Alvaro Morata.
Hit the like if you thought he was going to say Kovacic there. That's what I was checking, because if he put down Kovacic, I was about to have a go at him. 16
Premier League goals from 47 games, just couldn't do it for Chelsea.
He did have some stinkers, he did miss some sitters, but the man just knocked out Liverpool at Anfield, so I couldn't put him in this list. I've gone for a 40 million signing from Monaco, holding midfielder that just couldn't hit the Prem. It's Timothy Bakayoko. Now, he's a flop. He spent more time colouring his hair different colours than actually concentrating on getting ready for the English Premier League.
Moving on to Crystal Palace, and we've surely gone for the same guy.
Who have you picked?
Christian Benteke.
I agree.
He cost Crystal Palace 28 million quid. And you know what? He's a Belgian international. He scored 15 goals for Belgium. He just can't score goals from Crystal Palace.
The guy's clearly got it in him, but right now, very low on confidence.
Moving on to Everton, and a lot of people came up with the name Davy Klaassen.
Yeah.
Now, this is a guy who scored 55 goals for Ajax and came with a £24 million fee.
Yeah.
A lot was expected of him, but apparently he just fell out with everyone. Fell out with the players, fell out with the fans.
A classy playmaker from Ajax. What could go wrong? Everything.
Yeah.
He was rubbish. He was not ready for the Prem, and Everton have had their fair share of flops too.
And according to an Everton mate of mine, he played like a non-league player. Moving over to Leicester, it's hard to criticise Leicester because they've been so amazing over the last few years.
Yep.
But I'm going for an Algerian centre-forward. You know what I'm going to say. Islam Slimani. Now,
I thought you were going to say Mahrez for a second.
No,
I'm kidding.
Now, Sporting Club de Portugal, he was brilliant. A goal every other game. I think he got 57 goals. You know what? He just couldn't cut the ice at Leicester.
I'm going to go with another Leicester striker. It's not Slimani, it's Ahmed Musa. Now, the guy came from CSK Moscow and he had very big hopes. He was a pacey player on FIFA. I used him, he was class. And he started off really well. In his first game for Leicester in his pre-season against Barcelona. Yeah, that's right, Barcelona. He scored 2 goals and he made some great runs and it was a great finish. Everyone was thinking, this man could replace Jamie Vardy. Or even be a good cover for him. He then went on to play 21 appearances for Leicester in the Premier League, 2 goals. I think Vardy just has a bad effect on the other strikers in the club, really. He's just so good.
Yes.
What's the next team?
31st of January 2011. What a day that was, the last day of the deadline. Fernando Torres went down from Liverpool to Chelsea. Who did Liverpool sign? Andy Carroll.
Not
37 million quid. It's a shame. What if? What if he hadn't been injured so much?
There's something about deadline day where you just end up spending a bit too much money looking for a replacement with such little time. And that is the perfect example of it. I completely agree with you.
Thank you, Theo. Shall we move on to Manchester City?
Yes.
Now, I've gone for Claudio Bravo. Cost 16 million quid from Barcelona. Now, I think more was expected of him. And this name's come up a lot with City fans. Who do you think, Theo?
He still plays Bravo, he's a backup, and when you're a keeper, right, and you're a rotation keeper, you're not playing every game, you're not used to your defence because you're not playing every game, you're low on match fitness. He only cost 16 million at the end of the day, and for City, that's like a few quid. 16 million is
That's real money, Theo.
Dad, I'll talk about real money.
Go on,
32 million in the 2014 season from Porto, Mangala. Remember that player? He was shocking. He played 1 season, he was so crap, they loaned him out to Everton the next year. And how many appearances did he get for them in a year? 2. He was too shit to get the team for them as well. What's the next team?
The next team is Manchester United, and you know what's coming next, because this name came up again and again and again. And before I say his name, I'll give you his stats at Arsenal. Played 166, 80 goals, 45 assists. When you played Fantasy Premier League, you had Alexis Sanchez in your team. But he came to Man United, and he cost 31 million quid. But the main thing is, his wages, 350,000 a week.
It was a disgrace. You know what though? If he did play like he did at Arsenal, it would have been worth the money.
Yes.
He was quality. I mean, the piano announcement, the hype around that signing was insane. But you want to hear something interesting, Dad?
I'd love to hear that, Theo.
I haven't picked him.
No.
Now, some would argue this is the most obvious pick of the video, and I haven't gone for it because I want it to be different. United fans, do you remember when you signed this guy for 25 million quid, winger, expected to be the next big thing, Memphis Depay?
Oh, yes.
Remember that? Well, he was an absolute flop, and he did rubbish. They signed him on a 4-year deal, big wages. He was so bad, they put him in the under-23s team. He turned up to an under-23s game in his Lamborghini and full-out Gucci wear. A week later, they sold him. And United have had their fair share of bad signings. Di Maria, Falcao,
Jemba.
Bebe. Honestly, the list could go on.
Absolutely. Talking of bad signings, Newcastle. Joe Linton.
Ooh, I'm gonna say that's harsh. I watched the video on it.
And I know why you're gonna say that's harsh.
Why is that?
It cost 40 million from Hoffenheim. He scored 1 goal in 29 games. But I think when you're a 40 million pound player, when you're a player that's good, you need to adapt a little bit. And so Joe Linton is just not adaptable. He's an expensive flop. He's the worst.
He's not a target man, and therefore, as you can probably tell, I've not picked him. Now, special mention to Florian Thauvin, but I'll let him off because he's quite good now. The one I think has been absolutely shocking, and there's been a lot of French lads. Do you remember that period of the time at Newcastle where Alan Pardew and other managers around them were just signing loads of French lads you've never heard of? Ben Arthur turned out one, and he turned out pretty good. But one that wasn't so good was Emmanuel Riviere. Alan Pardew brought him in as a striker, and he ended up playing about 26 games. 1 goal.
Yeah.
1 goal.
So let's move on to Norwich.
Yeah.
And I think we can agree on this one.
Hopefully.
This lad was bought for 9 million quid from Sporting. Wherever he went, he scored goals. Not at Norwich.
Ooh.
Ricky Van Wolfswinkel. Great name, crap striker.
Correct. He scored on his first day.
He did.
And everyone thought, we made a profit from this. He's going to be the next big thing. Then he went 25 games without scoring.
I know.
And Norwich got relegated. You expect your striker to turn up at those moments, and he simply didn't.
Sheffield United, I've gone for a central midfielder, Dean Hammond. 34 games for the club and didn't impress. And looking at his stats, you know, he's one of these players who quite honestly did much better at Championship or lower.
Sheffield United was a tough one to go with. I didn't really know who to pick. They haven't had that many shockers. They spend their money quite wisely. So I'm sorry, Ravel Morrison, but I've gone for you.
Ooh.
And I know it's harsh, but I've got no one else to pick. The man came in this season. In January, he got loaned out to Borough. So that kind of says something. He only played 1 game, and it was against AFC Fylde in the Cup. I think that's obvious as to why, you know, they loaned him out.
Moving on to Southampton, would you like to hear a little Thogdad story?
A trip down Thogden memory lane?
Yeah, this is a trip down Thogdad memory lane.
We've not one of these for a while, eh?
We haven't. In the 1996-97 season, there was a guy called Ali Dia. Now, he went around and he phoned all the Premiership teams and said, I'm the cousin of the amazing George Weah, former African Footballer of the Year. Everyone's like, oh, bugger off. A couple of teams gave him trials and they realised he's a pub player. Graham Souness signed him for Southampton and got him on the pitch in a Premier League game.
No.
He was a fraud, he was a pub player. It's a true story. Now, this was 24 years ago.
I haven't gone with that. I've gone with a man.
Oh, by the way, I haven't gone with him because it's 24 years ago. I've gone with someone else. But Theo, who's yours?
Well, I've gone with Guido Carrillo. Do you agree?
I agree. Carrillo, yes.
Signed for 20 million from Monaco, and when you sign that much money from a club who knows how to bring up a lot of youth, you expect big things. You expect an Mbappe up top. That's what they had, you know?
Yeah.
But no, he was not Mbappe. He played 9 games before they kicked him out of the club because he was a Sunday League striker.
Yeah.
Enough said. Southampton fans know what I mean. The guy is absolutely woeful. And you agree?
Yeah, I agree. He's a tall lad and he's scored goals wherever else he'd gone.
Yeah.
But you know what? The Premier League, some make it, some don't. Now, Theo, we have to agree on Spurs. Roberto Soldado, 27 million quid from Valencia 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, in La Liga, he got 112 goals in 268 games.
It's not that record.
But he didn't do that in the Premier League.
He did not.
It was like 7 goals in 52 games.
Yeah.
Again, just couldn't cut it at the highest level.
I've actually got a funny story about Soldado. Now, we live in northwest London, so we sometimes come across these players. Now, the primary school I went to was opposite the school that his kid went to, and every day I walked up, I'd always bump into him, and he used to smile at me because he recognised me and I recognised him, so he kind of smiled back. Even though we had that lovely story and I spoke to him a few times, the geezer could not hit a barn door. He was a rubbish striker, and yes, I agree with you.
And the next time we meet him in Waitrose, Theo's going to get a dry slap from Soldado, isn't he? That's
some Spanish mafia lad's going to come up to me tomorrow. Lads, if I disappear, you know why.
Let's move on to Watford, and I've gone for a left winger called Isaac Success, and I don't like to do this because I love the story. This is a guy brought up in Nigeria who was brought up in poverty, so I like the fact that he's come to England, he's made it in football. He's just not quite good enough.
Well, you know what? I think you're being a bit rude. You know, he's not been that bad. He's still playing. He's still young. I've gone for a man who came, was a flop, and he was crap. Mario Suarez. Watford fans, you know what I'm on about. He was quality at Atletico Madrid. Holding midfielder. Atletico, massive club, big reputation. You expect big things. Came to Watford, was absolutely rubbish.
Moving on to West Ham United, Roberto Jimenez.
Known as Roberto. Just Roberto.
Now, the thing is,
you were backing him a few weeks ago. Let's not lie. Well, you were signing him on FPL and stuff.
Because he was cheap. Okay, so he played 8 games, conceded 17 goals, but the key thing is 4 of those were just shockers.
Yeah.
And this is a guy in his 30s who, like I say, has gone all over Europe and been a bloody good goalkeeper.
Hold up, Dad. I've just seen 2 people walking outside, and I've seen them already today walking. I'm just going to quickly call the police. The second walk of the day. Boris
is going to go and rugby tackle.
I'm going to go with a man, Carlos Sanchez, the holding midfielder from, I think it's Colombia. You want to hear something funny? He still plays for them. Now, you're going to say, oh yeah, he was a free transfer, it wasn't much of a risk. Yes, but he's on wages, and he is complete deadwood.
Finally, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Roger Johnson. Now, he cost 7 million quid from Birmingham. He's a centre-back. He came in as the captain. but he lost the fans, he lost the dressing room. He was rumoured to turn up for training drunk.
I agree with you. I've also got him down. I think he was playing at Bromley last season. I don't know if he's still playing today, but I think that sums it up. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments. Who did we forget about? Who was such a big flop that we forgot about? Like, literally just turned off the face of the bloody earth. Like, he's been that crap. Maybe didn't play a game. I don't even know. Bolton have had some shockers. We had that Portuguese lad who banged them in Portugal. Came to us overweight. What was his name?
Mario Jardel.
He was the biggest fraudiola there is. Smash Thogdad's like target. What is it again?
6,300 likes.
Let's do it. I think we can hit that.
Yeah.
If the Thogden army is strong enough and you're not doing anything else during self-isolation, hit the like target. I hope you're all safe. I hope you're all indoors. Stay safe. Only go out. Don't do what this geezer did out there and go for their second walk of the day. That's breaking the... You're going to get rugby tackled by Boris. See you all later from me and Thogdad. Stay safe. Don't catch the virus and have a good one. See you later, lads.